It is with great pleasure that I get to introduce to you Coos County Commissioner candidate, Don Van Dyke. And if you weren't at the meeting last night, you should have been there. Everybody was commenting about his great sense of humor. Don.
Good morning, and thank you all for coming. Happy to accept your invitation to speak this morning. I was making some preparations a little bit ago. I wrote on both palms, and thanks to Sarah Palin, I now have a handy prompter. I was going to use that joke last night and I forgot it. Last night I forgot a lot of things I was going to say. So those of you who were there at the Lincoln Day dinner, don't worry. I'll just say all the things I forgot to say last night. I actually started off talking about my mother, who was born on February 12th, 1909, exactly 100 years after Abraham Lincoln. I wanted to segue into some remarks about Lincoln using one of my favorite quotes of his. All I am and all that I hope to be, I owe to my angel mother. I think that's a great comment. And behind every successful man is a startled woman. So I want you to say hello again to my sister Ann over there, who's as startled as anybody can be. The other quote that I think is quite appropriate speaking to this group today, Lincoln said, "A woman is the only thing I am afraid of that I know will not hurt me." Interesting comment. So again, I sincerely appreciate your support and your vote so that I can offer an outsider's approach to how, why, and what county government does for you. My objective is to think and act out. Let's start that one over again. On the stage, I would say, you don't say, but my objective is to think and act outside the traditional political box. And my mission is to inform voters by communicating county meetings on cable TV and the internet. Anybody here ever watch Channel 14 or Channel 73? Anybody? How about on the internet? Are you aware that all of our programming is now available? And the Lincoln Day speeches last night, they're going to be up there next week. For those of you who did not attend, you'll be able to see it. And that's what I've been doing for the last 3 years. I work 40 to 50 hours a week, bringing public meetings to the county citizens. I came here to retire. I'm a full-time volunteer. There's a few things about me that are different. Starting off, I promise to serve only one 4-year term. I'm not trying to build a political career here. And whatever contributions I have, I'm going to be able to do in 4 years. Well, if not, a second term isn't going to help. I won't be successful with that. I have a thing about elitists in government, and there is no law saying you can't run for a 3rd or 4th term. And I respect that. It's the people's choice. But I think 8 years is plenty for someone to make their contribution and then allow someone else to come along. I'm not driven by goals, by the way. There's some sort of a calling from within that attracts me to offer myself for public service. I have an analytical mind, and I have a powerful listening. I listen to the citizens and truly represent them as our forefathers had written up the ways that our government should work. Thomas Jefferson especially, James Madison, James Monroe, emphasized in their papers how important strong local government is. To make a good federal government, we have to start with strong local government. Makes sense? Makes sense to me. So I want to represent you and make our government stand on your side, not in your way. Alan Alley said the very same thing last night. And I accept the challenge of a tough fight in this race against tough and confident opponents. There's 3 of us vying for Nikki Whitty's seat. Those campaigning for Kevin Stufflebean's seat has nothing to do with this race. They're parallel. So I have Larry Van Ellsberg and also Steve Pickering, who are running for the same seat, position number 2. And I'm gladly accepting the opportunity to serve on the Board of Commissioners with Bob Mink. As you remember, last month, he announced at the monthly meeting, he did not attend a so-called executive board meeting because, in his opinion, it violated the rules of open meeting policy. I'm sure that was a courageous thing for him to say and do, and I salute him for it. Anybody out there who has special needs children or knows somebody? I happen to be a special needs parent. I have a son who is 37 who operates as someone who is 7. It isn't easy, but I have a special place in my heart for all those that have that experience, and I do think it as a blessing. It's never been troublesome for me. And I want to make the county more friendly to people with special needs. My other promises. By the way, it was James Carville who managed President Clinton's re-election campaign. It was questioned by a reporter saying, "Your president did not keep all the promises that he made in his first campaign," to which Mr. Carville replied, "President Clinton kept every promise he had meant to keep." I'm sure there's a lot of truth in that, and I think some humor. So I don't make promises I don't plan on keeping. I make few promises and have no exceptions. So just for example, I'm going to read everything that's presented before me before I vote on it. Think what things might be like if Congress did that. They're out there voting on stuff they've never read. I want to promote the use of more volunteer assistance, stretch our tax dollars. Already, volunteers are very important in running this county. I work for Coos Community Media Center as an unpaid volunteer, and there's 7 others that do that work. And we create the ability for the government meetings I mentioned earlier, plus people like yourselves who might have something to say, play the piano or some musical instrument, sing. We cover other activities, festivals around the area, do public service announcements. And even last December, we put on a play called The Christmas Carol. I have heard of it. Originally written by, who the Dickens wrote The Christmas Carol?